Welcome to Insightful Accountants Future Forward webinar series for September 2025. This month's focus is on practice management. My name is Emily Frells, and I am your host on behalf of Insightful Accountant. Today's session is practice management strategies to boost capacity and reduce burnout, and our presenter is Tim Sines. But before I turn the event over to him, I do have some housekeeping and a couple of polls. So our housekeeping, this webinar is CPE eligible. You must be present for 50 minutes and you must answer at least 3 poll questions. If you meet this criteria, we'll send you your certificate within 48 hours. If you have questions during the webinar, please add them into the Q&A. We'll be watching that. You will receive an email following this event with a link to the archive, which will be posted to our YouTube channel. Matt will drop the link into the chat and the slide deck into the chat as well. Lastly, after the event, we'd appreciate if you would answer the short survey that will pop up on your screen. So 2 quick polls before I turn it over. First, will you be attending Intuit Connect next month? We may be hosting an event at the Sphere and are trying to get a feeling as to who will be attending, so let us know. All right, and Matt, and we can close that one up when you're ready. Awesome. And then my second question, have you heard about our Be Insightful premium content offering? In July of 2026, we are hosting a 7-night Caribbean working cruise during which you will have time to work on your business in sessions that are curated and led in such a way that you'll walk away from the cruise relaxed and with the strategy and execution plan to grow your business to the next level. This is part of our Be Insightful community and training program, in which we offer 9 training tracks, including tech stack, app comparisons, migrations, HR, marketing, business development, and others. And it's led by some of the top trainers in the profession. Members have access to more than 30 CPE credit hours per year, workshops, and a variety of year-round premium content. Want to learn more about the program or the cruise? Click yes on the poll and we'll send it to you. And Matt, you can close that one up when you're ready. And now that we are done with all the housekeeping fun, just a reminder, the chat and the QA will be open, so don't be afraid to ask questions. And Tim, it is all yours.
Okay, thank you, Emily. Thanks everybody for joining today. Appreciate it very much. Hopefully we get some good information out of today's presentation, which, as Emily mentioned, is practice management strategies to boost capacity and reduce burnout. So a little bit about myself. If I switch my slide here, my name's Tim Sines. I am the founder of Mango Practice Management. I've also been a practicing CPA for 36 plus years with my own firm. I am the owner of Sines and Associates, and I've been a software developer for over 30 years. It's been a side passion of mine that really turned into something good for me through the years, with being able to develop a practice management solution that's really comprehensive and has helped me manage my firm through the years. So that's a little bit about myself. Today's agenda, we're going to talk about industry trends that are happening within our industry, some common challenges that we face day to day to manage our firms, strategies that we can gain for efficiency. How do we get more efficient in order to reduce burnout for staff, and modern practice management tools. What are some of the tools out here now to help us manage our practice better, more efficient for staff, for the clients? A lot of things out here now to really streamline managing the practice. And then, of course, we do have Q&A. Feel free to present questions as we're going along. We are going to have those moderated, and I'll try to answer those as we're going along. So some of the industry trends are this. With COVID came along, we had many remote workers, hybrid teams. We have some people that are working in office. We have teams that are working out of the office in the field. Many are working completely remote. So that's a big trend now. How do you handle that within your firm? What software are you using? Are you using an on-prem solution? Are your team members able to track time? Can you work from anywhere? Can you get paid from anywhere? So we're going to kind of go through some things regarding that. And client expectations. This is a big thing now. Our clients now really have high expectations. They expect firms to be modernized with good practice management solutions. They want to be able to pay electronically, for example. I've been doing this many years. Back in the day, we had to generate invoices, mail them out, wait for that check to come in the mail, and then we would enter it manually. Now, clients don't really want to write checks anymore. They want the convenience of being able to pay electronically. Document management. I can remember I had a whole file room, lateral files that were dedicated just to maintaining general ledger documentation, financial statements, payroll, tax returns. A whole room was dedicated just to paper and files. Now we've moved to document management systems that are electronic. And I'm going to kind of go through some things regarding a good document management system, some of the things that um, clients expect now and can really help you gain efficiencies within your firm. Advisory services. Again, I've been doing this many, many years. My firm, just as a little background, we did accounting, a lot of compilations, some reviews, tax work, and payroll. Well, I've found that a lot of the accounting has dissipated. A lot of people are doing their own QuickBooks. So what we mean by advisory services is that we typically are now advising clients on and reviewing their QuickBooks, and more advisory for tax planning and things like that. So as clients grow, they require more advisory services, more services other than just preparing the tax return, more tax planning, more financial planning, and things like that. So technology shifts. We're going to kind of go through some of the shifts in technology. And then, as I mentioned, shifts towards advisory services. So these are just some general statistics, and these are, put out by U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. The accounting and our workforce is actually shrinking. Now, that's a combination of a lot of things. It's burnout within the industry, it's increased regulation and things that we have to comply with. It's also we can do more with less now. Back in the day, I had 7 people in my firm. We're down to 3. My revenue is actually more than it was when I had 7 people because we're actually able to do more with less. We're able to process payroll more efficiently. Advisory services are more, I want to say they're more profitable. We're billing by the hour for those services versus, some fixed fee, which we do have. Another survey, 99% of accountants are getting burned out. Staff are getting burned out. Uh, and then, increase in stress. So we'll kind of go through some things to how to maybe make things better within your firm. Just kind of put some ideas out there, maybe new to some, maybe not. But I'm going to kind of share my experiences that I've encountered and some of the challenges that I've had and what I've done to make life easier within my firm. So labor shortages, these are some of the common challenges. Labor shortages equal longer hours, which equals staff burnout. So if I, am growing, there's obviously more work. If I don't staff up, it's going to be longer hours. If I have a staff person that leaves, somebody has to make up for that lost staff person, and somebody has to do that work. So at all costs, I mean, that's probably one of the biggest costs that we can incur is losing a staff member. I mean, I have experienced that where I've lost a staff member and I've had to go through and train another staff person to get them up to speed. That's time consuming. And to lose a staff person, it's really a hidden cost to your firm. If you lose staff, that you have to train somebody else, spend your time doing that. A lot of manual processes that firms are still doing. I talk to a lot of firms on a daily basis. I do webinars, I go to shows at various locations, and I have the opportunity to talk to many CPAs. Many are still mailing out invoices, believe it or not, versus emailing. I'm going to kind of go through some things that we do regarding invoicing, cash receipts. A lot of people are still getting checks. I mean, we still get checks. We have legacy clients that still mail checks, but for the most part, we've tried to move all of our clients to electronic payment. I would say 70 to 80% of all the payments that come into the firm now are in the form of an electronic payment, whether it be an ACH or a credit card. And what's nice about that is when you do email out your invoice to your client, whether it's for the tax return, for your accounting services, whatever it might be, your client receives it. It's very convenient for them to click in the body of the email, make a payment. They don't want to log into a portal to make a payment. They don't want to have to go to your website, make a payment. They want to be able to just click in the invoice, be redirected. Their payment information is already there, front and center, it's showing them the last four of their card or their bank, and they just want to click and make a payment. Very simple. They don't want to write a check. They don't want to mail it. And firms don't really want to get checks anymore because those checks have to be entered in, batched for a deposit, and somebody has to take that deposit to the bank. So I prefer electronic payment, and I know the money's going to be in my bank account within 24 to 48 hours. So we've really had a big push to go electronic, and the clients actually like it a lot better. We invoice in many different ways. We'll kind of get into this a little bit further, but we do one-off invoices for tax returns, but those recurring type engagements, whether it be accounting or payroll, we prefer to get those set up as a recurring invoice and a recurring payment. So we want that payment to happen automatically. We want the client to sign an engagement letter. We want them to agree to a recurring payment schedule. And after clients actually do that, they tend to like it better. It's just really on autopilot for them and autopilot for the firm. We talked about, document management systems, scanning documents versus the client, uploading documents. So, we have a hybrid solution in place for that. We have clients that come into the office with their folder every year for their tax return. We scan those documents in immediately. They are going to the tax engagement folder. They're sitting there. Somebody's notified that the documents are in the firm and that tax return is ready to be worked on. What we prefer is for the client to upload the documents. So this has been a retraining process for us where we've tried to help the client, show them how they can upload their documents. And then we're not having to scan those documents in. They don't even need to come into the office. They can log into a portal and they can upload their documents directly into the tax engagement folder. Very easy, saves them a trip to the office. They like it. They have access to those documents, to those W-2s for any year that they want. When we do the tax return's residing in the portal for the client. They can share that document securely, which we'll talk about some of those features for sharing documents securely. But these are some of the things where you want to get away from, the manual processes, the manual entering checks, cash receipts, manual invoicing, having folders in your office and trying to locate that folder so you can work on that tax return or work on the monthly accounting. So you really want to try to gain efficiencies with some of these things that we're going to talk about today. Engagement letters. I just actually talked to somebody today still using Word for their engagement letters. It's fine, but you can automate that process. We have a solution in Mango whereby you can set up your templates for your services, your terms of your engagement. But what's nice is you could do an engagement letter electronically, email it to your client, they can review it, and they can sign it electronically. Very, very nice. Comes back to the firm. You're notified that you have a signed engagement letter. But what's even nicer is that now I can request a one-time payment with that engagement letter. So with integrated electronic payments, I can now email that engagement letter to the client. So for example, if I have a client walking in the door with 2 or 3 years worth of tax returns, I'm going to do an engagement letter and I'm going to request a payment up front. I'm not going to do 3 years worth of tax returns without a payment. So if I email that engagement letter to the client, part of the terms of that engagement are part of the acceptance, I should say, is they have to enter their payment information. Once they do that, that payment comes back into Mango as a credit that's sitting on that client account. Now I'm going to go do the work, track my time, and do the invoice. We go even a step further in Mango with our engagement letters, is you can set up a recurring invoice with recurring payment terms. So now part of the acceptance is they're agreeing to the terms, the services, the pricing, the fixed fee, whatever it might be. Part of the acceptance is they're going to enter their payment information. In Mango, we automate that process. We create the recurring invoice from that engagement letter, recreate the payment schedule from that engagement letter. And now what you have is you have a recurring invoicing and a payment situation within your firm where Mango is automatically going to go collect the money. It's going to record the payment, and all of that is automated for you. We'll even release the time. And if it's a fixed fee, and this particularly works for fixed fee type engagements, we'll release the time against that engagement so you can see the efficiency, the realization, how much are you writing up or writing down of that fixed fee. Managing projects in Excel. We have a lot of firms that still manage due dates, workflows outside of their practice management solution, or they might be using a third party solution. But in Mango, we have a full-fledged practice management solution for not only tracking the due dates, but tracking who is working on what on that particular project within the firm. So now you get a high level overview of, capacity, example for a given staff, how many tax returns are in the review stage, how many are in the tax preparation phase, how many clients have actually brought their work into the firm and it's queued up to be worked on. So now you get all that information. And again, what we're trying to achieve is we want to gain efficiencies. We want to make our life easier. We want to make the life easier for our clients. So all these things we're going to kind of go through and hit on, and hopefully you guys will see that you can improve maybe your current situation. Some other challenges are many people I talk to are using disconnected systems. Now, what do I mean by that? They're tracking time in one solution. They're doing their invoicing out of QuickBooks. It's all fine. People have been doing it for years. It may work for some, but what you're losing is now you're losing reporting and you're losing what is my realization, because you've got time tracking in one solution, you've got your invoicing in another solution, and you have no idea what your write up or your write down was because you're tracking time in a completely different solution. You're losing realization, utilization. What are my staff being utilized? 80% of their work time, 70% billable, 80% billable, 90% billable. So now you get all of that information when you bring it to an all-in-one solution. So getting away from disconnected systems also give you more information, more insight to your firm, and just more information. Different project management solutions, as I mentioned, some people are using a complete third-party solution, spreadsheets, whatever it might be. But having it all in one and having that visibility and an all-in-one goes a long way. And what I'm going to do, we're talking about a lot of things here, but I'm going to give you some examples here in a moment where you can actually visualize and see this, so that you can see that, hey, there are some benefits to not tracking time separately. There are benefits to having project management all in one solution. And lack of visibility into staff workload. So smaller firms, it may not be important, but the larger the firm with more staff, it becomes very, very important. You need this high level of visibility, and I say this goes, for three staff and up. Even if a sole practitioner can gain insight into their workload, having a good practice management solution, seeing how many returns are in the firm. What tax returns am I waiting on the client to help you follow up with the client? So having that visibility really helps you gain efficiencies and reduce you from being stressed, so to speak. Client bottlenecks, setting expectations, and not missing deadlines. We rarely miss deadlines, I would have to say. I mean, everybody is very, conscious about not missing deadlines. But the bottleneck is when you're not managing your time, managing your projects, what happens is you get a bottleneck. You get clients bringing in their work, at or near the deadline. That's not good. So you kind of want to manage, your workload, manage your client expectations better in order to reduce those bottlenecks. I know we have a deadline coming up 9/15 for corporations. I'm sure there's many on this webinar today that clients are probably now just getting you their work in order to do those extensions. That's a bottleneck. So it's nice to see at a high level all the returns that I still have left to do. Let me reach out to the client. Let me get the ball rolling, get this work in here so that I can manage my workload and also set the expectation for the client. So let's move along here. What are some of the hidden costs of inefficiencies within a firm? Missing deadlines, coming up near the end of a deadline, not being efficient managing those clients and those deadlines, errors and reworking due to lack of information on projects. Now, what do I mean by that? We talked about losing a staff person. Well, in your practice management solution, do you have spelled out special instructions for doing that client monthly compilation? Maybe this client's unique and certain things need to be done for that client. It could be a tax return that has many, many rental properties. There's something unique with that client. You want to put all that information as much as you can into your project. So no matter who is working on that project, they can review those notes. And that goes a long way in reducing errors, having to rework. If I have a new staff person coming in that happens to pick up a tax return and they're working on it, and they don't know about all the rental properties or something unique about the rental properties. And then the reviewer is reviewing the tax return, and now you have to go back and say, hey, this you need to do this or you need to do that, and they need to rework things. So the more information that you can provide your staff with your project workflows gains efficiencies. Lost documents results in wasted time. I can remember when there was no electronic document management systems, and we had folders everywhere within the office. And if I was working on a client or the client called in, they needed copies of a W-2 or whatever it might be, or had a question, I would have to go try to locate that folder. I mean, that could be 10, 15, 20 minutes just trying to find a folder within the office. It's very, very nice when clients upload their documents. I can simply go in there and review that folder for the documents. If I need to get to a document quickly, I can go right to that folder and I can do it from anywhere. I can do it in the office, out of the office, which is very, very nice. So a cloud-based solution is very, very nice where I can get to those documents no matter where I'm at. If I'm on vacation, I can access those documents.
Hey, Tim, we have a question from
Sure.
William Murphy. Can you set up specific checklists or templates in Mango so that the same workflow is used for every similar job or project, like monthly financial close, tax returns, project close, etc.?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we have some templates that we provide in Mango by default. You can bring those down into your firm template library and then you can modify those. Let me just take a moment here and I will show you what that looks like. So this is Mango. This is our project management. I'm going to go right into project management, and this would be under what you're referring to, our project management settings. And then here's where those templates are. So I can actually, this is a typical workflow for a 1040. Somebody met with the client, they dropped off the work, and the documents were uploaded. Somebody scanned in those documents and put them into the Mango DMS. Somebody's going to do the tax prep, review the tax return. You may have the 8879 in there, whatever workflow you want to have in there. You can go in there and modify this template however you want. And then we have a nice feature that you can actually clone. So if I selected this template, and if you notice, we do support these wildcards. So this is a year, month. We have current month, current year, prior year. So what's nice is as you're completing these monthly or these recurring projects, we increment the month for you and we increment the year for you so that when you're viewing these projects in your dashboard, you will see the year or the month that you're working on. But if I want to take this 1040, which is a template that is set up, I can clone this out to all of my individual clients. So all of our clients are segmented by the type, individual, C Corp, S Corp. I could just type in individual, and I have 133 individual records here, and I could clone this template that is on the left out to all of these clients. So that's a long-winded answer, but hopefully you get the gist of that. And I'm going to jump more into project management because it is a really useful tool for helping firms manage and see what's going on with the firm. I mean, I talk to sole practitioners that use this to manage themselves. I mean, they can extend returns if they're missing information. Our document management system, I can request documents from the client. They never have to log into a portal to upload those documents. They simply click in the body of the email. They're redirected, no logging into a portal. They drag and drop their documents, and those documents will land in the folder that I pre-designated. And then I get an email notification that the client has uploaded those documents. So little things like that really, make an individual and staff within a firm more efficient. We have templates that, really streamline this process as well. So we left off on, and I don't know if there's any more questions out there, Emily. If there are, just feel free to chime in. But where we left off was lost documents resulting in waste time. I mean, really having a really good document management system is great. We have built-in eSig also with 8879s, and they land in the folder. I know I've seen, other solutions out there, DocuSign. It's just a list of 8879s, and they don't really reside in the client folder. But with ours, you can pre-designate when that 8879 is signed, it's going to land in the tax engagement 2024 folder. So little things like that are nice. The whole point of this webinar here today is we're trying to become efficient, prevent burnout, which ultimately is going to result in staff leaving if they're not happy. I mean, if they're constantly hitting roadblocks within the firm, difficult to do work, clients are getting upset, staff are going to leave. They're going to get burned out. So you want to try to streamline things, set the expectations for your staff and set the expectations for your clients, good communication, both sides, for those efficiencies on both sides. Missed revenue opportunities. So, the more efficient I've found that my firm has become, it's actually created more revenue opportunities. And what do I mean by that? If I'm constantly behind the eight ball, I don't really have any opportunities to create other revenue situations. Now, what we do, which this is one way that we've created additional revenue, is with our engagement letters, if it's an accounting engagement, we spell out the scope of that engagement. We clearly say that anything outside the scope of that engagement is billable. So we always set up an engagement called other. So anything that we're doing outside of that monthly engagement, anything outside of payroll, for example, workers' comp audit is not included in a payroll service engagement because we don't know how much time we're going to spend on that workers' comp audit. So we track that time separately outside the engagement. Now, I'm going to show you an example of what we do. Let me flip back over to Mango. We have this feature called batch invoicing. So it's going to bring all the time in for your whole firm, the whole universe of all your WIP. But I just want to go get my other time. So I'm just going to go grab this engagement and maybe I want to get it through a certain, end of the month or whatever. I'm just going to grab all of my time. And I have a few clients here that have other time and I can drill in and I can see this was a consulting. This was, I can drill in and see what this time is. But the nice thing is I can come out here and say, I'm going to invoice $300. I told the client I was going to charge them $100 for that. Um, I'm going to charge $100 for that. So this is how you can actually create additional revenue easily, efficiently. I could process these invoices and I can email out these 4 invoices and just generate very easily $565 worth of additional revenue. Now, obviously, this is not a very good example. Hopefully, your revenue is more than $565. We all do extra work for clients. Whether you want to call it goodwill or you want to get paid for it is up to you. I prefer to get paid for it. I don't like to give away time. So, we track all time. If it's to the engagement, fine. Now, if it's a fixed fee engagement, let me go ahead and clear my filter here. I'm going to reset this, and now I am just going to grab my fixed fee engagements, and maybe I just want my fixed fee accounting engagements and fetch it. So here are a few examples. And if you notice, it brought the fixed fee in. There's my time. There's my write up and my write down. So, I can clearly see, are we making money or are we losing money on these fixed fee engagements? So again, these are just examples of ways that you can gain efficiencies if you are fixed fee. Very easy to get your invoices out to your client, emailed, and get paid. All right, let me go ahead and switch back here. We talked about missed revenue opportunities. Engagement letters will generate revenue opportunities if you're tracking time and you're tracking time for anything that's outside the scope of that engagement. Now, I've also found that if I'm not always behind the 8 ball and we're firing on all cylinders, capacity with staff is good, we can create other revenue opportunities. We can engage the client to do more tax planning, for example. We can schedule clients to do tax planning in November and December and create revenue opportunities. So having your firm, running efficiently, where you're not always behind, and having your capacity of your staff leveled off well, you can generate additional revenue opportunities.
So, Tim, we have another question.
Okay.
And it is, how firm personnel assigned to clients and specific engagements does the scheduling tool include information like staff availability versus existing workload and staff members' history as to engagement type, etc.?
Yeah, all good questions. Yeah, so we have a tool. We have project management that tracks due dates and who's doing what to complete that project, who's going to do the tax return, who's going to review it. We go one step further. You can enable budgeting. So we do support budgeting at the engagement level. You can budget revenue. You can budget the time that's projected to complete that tax return. You can go a step further down to the project level. Now I have a project for the tax engagement, and I want to relate it back to the client tax engagement. So now I have a project, and the relationship is the engagement back to the client. Now I can put budgeted time down there on those projects, and I can go even more granular, and I can go down to the tasks, and I can put budgeted time for the tax return prep, budgeted time for the review. So now what I'm leading up to here is that the benefit you get with budgeting, and a lot of larger firms do this because they do have to manage staff, capacity, etc., is with the budgets, you now get capacity planning. So now I can go look at Emily and I can see everything that Emily has for Monday, the hours that are budgeted for Emily for Monday, for Tuesday. I can see the whole week of the budgeted time for Emily. And if Emily is overburdened or Emily is behind, I can reassign that task. I can just drag and drop that task to another staff person. They're going to get an email notification, and it's also going to show up on their dashboard that they now have a task assigned to them. So what it does for larger firms and again, smaller firms is it gives you insight into the capacity based on the budgeted time of a given day, a given week, and you can move things around. A lot of people also use it for maybe the tax return hasn't been assigned to somebody. It's unassigned. A lot of firms do round robin. So now on the capacity dashboard, they can see all the tasks that are unassigned. They can see them by staff. You can also see unassigned. I can now drag that client tax return to a staff and assign it. So very easy to drag and drop now those tasks and assign them to staff. Now, hopefully that answered the question that came in. So not only do you get due date tracking and who's doing what, but now you also get capacity that comes hand in hand with budgeting.
Great. Now, Tim, would this be a good time to put up one of your poll questions?
Okay, sure. Are you going to do that on your side, Emily?
Matt will do that.
Okay.
Awesome. And he's got it up.
Hopefully that question is not too bad. I know we all do get burnout, even no matter how efficient we are, just due to the nature of tax season and due dates, the industry we're in, we all face a little bit of stress at times. No getting around it. Just need to manage it. Just need to manage it better. Can we carry on here, Emily?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Client dissatisfaction and losing clients. So I found that if the communication is good with the client, um, they tend to be more satisfied. If they see that your firm is organized, that you're proactive, um, they say, "Oh, okay, they're on the ball." We all know that and I talk to a lot of people. Clients can get dissatisfied if they send you an email and you don't get back with them because you're so busy, or you have the tax return and it's been sitting in your office for 2 weeks and you haven't gotten to it. Um, you know, all these little things can lead up to losing clients. So what I found that if I have a good project management solution and I know and I can see visually, let me just give you a picture of that instead of talking about it. Let me go back here and now I'm going to go to the dashboard of our project management and I can see I have 77, and this is for me, I'm the project manager. I have 77 projects that are available for work. I have two I'm missing information on. So what I'm getting at is if I go grab these two projects, I'm just going to click that link and it's going to give me the clients, those two projects. I can quickly see where I'm at in the workflow. I'm at the review state, whatever it might be. But what I'm getting at is if I go into this project and I'm right here doing the tax return and I'm missing information, I immediately want to put a tag out here, that I'm missing the information. I immediately want to get a hold of that client and let them know, hey, I'm missing information. I can't move forward. So I'm being proactive, and I have that now on my dashboard, front and center. And I'm going to reach back out to that client if I don't get that information fairly quickly because I want to move this along in my pipeline. And what do I mean by that? So when I go back to my dashboard, before I do that, this is a good example of how you can really manage your pipeline. So this is a good example. The due date is 4/15 of the tax return. They brought it in on 3/10 to the firm. So we're going to log it into the firm and we want to turn it around in 10 days. Maybe I want to turn it around in 5 days. You can set this up on your template and you can also change it at the client level. But if my turnaround, I now have this internal due date, this out date, we call it 3/15. This is now going to show up on my dashboard the week of March 15th that, hey, I have this tax return that I have projected that I want to get it done. And if it's not getting done, if I'm missing information, okay, fine. Let me change the expectation for the firm. I'm gonna put 5 more days on it. We're gonna push it out. I'm gonna reach back out to that client and get that information in here. But the idea here is now with this type of a project management solution is I know when the work came into the firm. I want to start getting it done and out in so many days. I want to get this work out. If I've got one, just me, I'm managing myself. If I have 5 or 10 staff, I can now visually see on the dashboard when I go back here. I can see now what's due today, what's due this week for Tim, what's due next week, what's past that internal due date. If I want to see the whole firm, I can come in here and see the whole firm. Unfortunately, I don't have any good examples here of projects falling in this week, but you get the idea. And these are all clickable. If I want to see all these that are in progress, I can click that and it's going to go grab all those projects. So, again, this just helps you, gives you insight into these projects. And let me flip back to our slide. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but this prevents client dissatisfaction because they want their tax return done. And if you can't get it done because you're missing information or you're just backed up because of your workload, okay, fine. Add 5 more days onto that internal due date. Reach back out to the client and say, hey, we're going to get your return done next week. Be proactive instead of the client, sending you an email saying, hey, why isn't my return done yet? So the more proactive you are with your clients, the communication, the better. All right, let's move forward here. Let me see where we're at on time. Geez, we're getting really tight on time here.
Is this a good time for your next poll question, Tim?
Sure.
Awesome, Matt, if you want to go ahead and throw that up.
Do you currently use a practice management platform to track work and capacity? So those are kind of some of the things we've all been talking about right here. How to track the work that's in your office. When do you want to get it out the door by and manage that pipeline? Set expectations for your staff. Set expectations for your client. Let's move forward here. We got a lot of ground to cover. Strategies for efficiency, streamline project management, standardize recurring tasks. So this goes back to the question we had earlier. Can you standardize a lot of the things that your firm does? Standardize the way you do your 1040s, the things you want to track to get those 1040s done and out the door. Automate reminders and tasks based on the project and the role. Manage project due dates and internal dates. We kind of just hit on that, which is nice. Dashboards with insights into projects and tasks at the firm level and the staff level. And then centralized communications and documents. And again, having good processes in place for your staff. Staff love it. I mean, they really love the dashboard. I mean, it really helps them see what they have to work on. It almost gamifies it in a certain way because they're trying to, okay, I've got 5 that I need to work on today. How many of those 5 am I going to get done today? It really pushes you to manage your workload. And if I'm not going to get one of those done, let me change that due date, and push it out another day or two. So it really helps staff and firms to be more organized. Let me move forward here and talking about strategies for efficiency. How can we improve invoicing with automations? We talked about it with recurring invoicing, with scheduled payments. So, we have a lot of monthly, you know, clients that we do accounting for. And I can optionally send the invoice to the client. We have an option. We don't even send the invoice to the client. They've already agreed that they're going to pay us X number of dollars per month. We have an option to not even email that invoice to the client. They don't want to see it. They know it's getting paid every month. They see it coming out of their bank account. So, setting up those kind of automations are nice within the firm, nice for the client, and accelerating payments. I have talked with firms. I can't get over what a lot of firms are still carrying over 30 days, over 60 days for AR. We've tried to go towards zero AR. And how do you get to zero AR? You get to zero AR by doing that tax return, emailing out the invoice to your client, and your client clicking on it and making your payment because they know that their tax return is not going to get filed until they make a payment. So our clients are trained, and it's part of our workflow. When they get that invoice, they click on it immediately and they make a payment. We don't like to carry AR for our monthly accounting. We try to get most of them, not all, on these recurring invoicing with recurring payments. Some, they bring in a check with their work. Um, Others, we email an invoice and they pay it right away. So I'm not going to say it's 100% fail safe, but 99% of our clients pay immediately. We don't like to carry AR. We don't like to chase clients for payment. So you want tools to help you achieve that. And you can with a nice integrated electronic payment solution. We have, I talked to a firm that had a lot over 30 and 90. I said, hey, we have an option here to turn on statement reminders. So any invoice that's over 30, Mango will automatically send that client a statement. There's a payment option in the email. And you can set up a nag feature that if they don't make a payment in 5 days, 10 days, they're going to go into their inbox and they're going to see another email with a statement attached and a request for payment. So all these things, you can put in place to get paid faster and also make it easy for your clients to pay you. They like that. They want convenience. Um, you can dictate on some large invoices, they have to pay by ACH. If you accept credit cards, you can pass on the surcharging, whatever. I'm not a fan of the surcharging. I build it into my invoice, but it's there. Um, so these are some of the things. Hopefully, some of these ideas are, you may or may not be doing these things already. Other strategies for efficiency, optimizing the client experience, engagement letters. Yeah, you can mail it to your client. You can email the Word document. They're going to have to print it off. They're going to sign it. Maybe they're sophisticated enough they can sign it with some Adobe or something on their own. But have a solution that's got signatures built into it, payments built into it, is very nice. Um, the client experience, they want client portals. They want to be able to share their own documents. They don't want to have to call the firm up and say, hey, can you send 2 years worth of tax returns? I'm doing a refi. And then you have to take the time to email and hopefully not by attaching PDFs to the banker, but they want the option to go in there, select those 2 years worth of tax returns and share the link to those tax returns so that the banker can click on the link and then download those tax returns or save them or whatever, how they do it on their end. E-signatures built in to the DMS system. Again, all improves the client experience. Client portals to conveniently, securely share, access documents, electronic payments. Like I said, we pushed for that. We pushed for that, and any new clients, we pretty much mandate that they have to pay electronically. So again, there's been a big push on my side to go to electronic payments. I love it because if I'm on vacation, I can see money's going into the bank or somebody within the firm doesn't have to process all those checks and then somebody doesn't have to take it to the bank. So I love it. And security protocols, big question always comes up with clients about the portals. Are their documents secure? It's all encrypted, 256-bit encryption. And then we even say, we're actually going to assist you to where you can share the documents securely to anybody you need to share those documents with. So we're actually providing additional security to our clients to where they can share documents securely, which they like. Any other questions, Emily?
Yes, actually, there's been a request to please discuss the mobile access to Mango.
So it is a cloud-based solution. So no matter where you're at, as long as you have internet, you can log in from a laptop. You can log in from an iPad, wherever you might be. You could be in Starbucks, in a coffee shop. You can access Mango securely. So it is cloud-based. So that is the beauty of it, is you can really work from anywhere. You can track time from anywhere. Um, let's move forward. We have about 10 minutes left, it looks like. I want to kind of cover a lot of things here. We've kind of touched on capacity planning techniques, utilizing budgets to see the capacity of staff. I mean, these are all modern tools that are now available within our firms that, we didn't have this 10 years ago or 15 years ago. We now have all these tools with these cloud-based solutions, and I can manage staff from anywhere. I can manage remote staff from anywhere. And I can see their capacity and I can reassign tasks. Um, COVID was a perfect example. I mean, we were remote. We had staff that was out on COVID. Well, who was going to pick up that capacity of that workload? So, we could manage that, whether it was on-prem in the office or remotely. So all these things and these tools that are available now really make it nice to manage your practice better. Knowing when it's time to hire or optimize. So that's a good question right there. I mean, are we at the point where I have to hire another staff because all the capacity of each of the staff members is maxed out? Or do we have room to improve and I can get more capacity out of staff? So do you hire or do you optimize? So what are some of the tools that are out here? Project and task management with integrated time tracking. So in Mango, many of us track time live. We have timers. You can track the time as you're working. You can put in time after the fact. Let me just pop over here because this is a very, we all should be tracking time, I hope, even if we're fixed fee. But, here's the timesheet entry. This is for me. This is my day Wednesday. I can see my time, whether it's to the client or to the firm. I definitely want to account for all my time. If I want to start a timer, I can start a timer on the client easily. And when I save that timer, it's going to go to my timesheet for the day. If you have remote workers and they're at a client, they can easily come in and just add time for Thursday, add time for Friday for the same client, same activity. So you want a solution that's very, very easy to get time in, and it's very, very easy to invoice, whether it be manual, recurring, or batch invoicing or retainer invoicing. You want it all integrated into your solution so that you get more insight to utilization, realization, et cetera. But what I was going to hit on is if I go back to project management and I'm just going to grab a project and I'm going to go right into the project, if you notice, your staff can now just fire up a timer while they're working on this tax prep, and we're going to populate this timer for them. So very, very easy to start a timer and track that time. So with integrated time tracking is what we were talking about. Document management with eSig. Our document management is not only a portal for clients to upload their documents conveniently, it's also there for clients to share documents securely. We have eSig built into it. We can request documents with an email plugin. So if I'm missing information or I'm on that monthly accounting engagement and I'm missing a merchant statement, credit card statement, whatever, I can just fire out an email to the client. With that plugin, I can pre-designate where I want that document to reside. The client just has to drag and drop. So a very, very good document management system with all these features, is the tools that you want to look for in your solution. How well are you integrated with electronic payments? Are you processing electronic payments with a third party? Are you doing your ACH transactions through your bank and then you have to come in and enter that manually? We have integrations with invoices, with statements, with engagement letters, with what else? Engagement letters, invoices, statements, retainers, retainer invoicing. I can request a payment up front with a retainer invoice. Time and billing, invoicing automations, we've talked about. Engagement letters with built-in electronic payments and capacity planning. So these are all some of the tools that we have now that are available that we should all be using to manage our firm, our staff, ourself more efficiently. If you don't have these tools in an all-in-one solution, you might want to look at how you can do that.
And Tim, before you move on, we do have a question, and they're asking, does the time import into Time Tracker in QBO or Zero?
So if you are using Mango as your practice management solution, you will want to do all your time tracking in Mango because, to be quite honest, we have different ways to track time. It's a lot better to track time in Mango versus QuickBooks. And then you're going to do your invoicing. Now, we do integrate with QBO and QBD. QuickBooks Desktop, QuickBooks Online. So we do push over invoices if you want. We push over payments, but we don't find it necessary to push over time to QuickBooks because you're tracking time in Mango, you're doing your invoicing out of Mango, and you're doing your cash collections in Mango, which is, in my opinion, I've used both. It's far more efficient to do that in Mango and push over what you need, um, for financial statement reporting purposes. You want the revenue and everything you need over there for your financial statements in QuickBooks. Um, so I see another question here. How does it track the cost of labor by job? So, when you set up your staff or your team members, you can put in the direct cost, the cost per hour. So every time your staff is tracking time, if they're $50 an hour, your cost, if they spent 3 hours on an engagement, their direct cost is going to be $150 of their cost. So we do have reports for that, gross profit report. So you can see the GPM, gross profit margin by the client. You can see the gross profit margin by the staff. So now you can see what staff are more profitable, what clients are more profitable. You also get that realization. I can see the realization of Emily. She's billing out 85% of her billing rate. Tim is billing out 120% of his billing rate. We're writing up a lot of time, Tim's time. So again, you want an all-in-one solution where your time and your invoicing is all in that solution. I'm pushing through here. We only have a few more minutes. Point solutions versus all-in-one. These are, some of the pros and the cons. We've already talked about a lot of this. Having it all in one place is good. You can also reduce cost because you're not paying for 3 different solutions. And you are also going to reduce costs with efficiencies. Let's move forward here. Key takeaways. Burnout isn't solved by working harder. We don't want to work harder to make more money. We want to work efficiently and make more money. So, you want to be leery of that. I mean, back in the day, I used to work 14, 15, 16-hour days. And it's very, very easy to get burnt out. So we want to try to avoid working too hard. Capacity planning, creating balance of sustainability with staff and expectations within your firm. The right tools to boost capacity profitability, efficient workflows, reduce stress, and burnout. That's for sure. I mean, when we're not organized, it's very stressful. When we're organized, it seems to be a lot better.
Let's throw up that last poll question before you conclude, Tim.
Sure.
Awesome.
While we're looking at the poll question, we're kind of wrapping up here. If there's any other questions, feel free to put them in. I don't mind staying on and going past time a little bit. If you guys want to see more of Mango and what it can do for your firm, if you're a sole practitioner or larger firm, whatever you might be, just to have a look at it, you can scan this QR code on the screen, get a one-on-one Q&A, and see if Mango is the right solution. We are an all-in-one. We do engagement letters, track time, invoicing. We have scheduling built into Outlook and Google Calendar, project workflows, DMS. So we are a total, complete, all-in-one solution. So we welcome you to take a look at us. What's your biggest operational challenges today? If I were to guess on that, just from my experience, I would say managing work within the firm and organizing that work and having insight into that work. Was always one of the biggest challenges I had, even when I was a sole practitioner, was managing myself. That was uh, probably my biggest challenge. Before emailing out invoices and getting paid, I was always chasing people. Now, that's been eliminated with electronic payments. But even today's world, I think it's managing our staff and managing our workflows within the firm is probably one of the biggest challenges. So I think we're at the top of the hour, Emily. I don't know if we want to take a few more questions, if there are any more questions. If not, I want to respect everybody's time. Anybody that wants to stay over, I don't know how you handle that, Emily, but or they can feel free to email me directly. My email is on the screen. If you have any questions, you can email me directly. I guess we'll handle it that way, Emily.
Sounds great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tim, for your time today. And thank you to our participants for being here. Don't forget that we do have one more Future Forward session tomorrow, and it is Get Aligned, what your firm can learn from the chiropractor. So again, thanks everyone. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Are you an accounting or tax professional who wants to stay ahead without spending a dime? Join thousands who trust insightful accountant and tax practice news to keep them informed and empowered. Get expert updates on QuickBooks, Xero, tax planning strategies, and workflow tips delivered straight to your inbox. Whether you're a solo bookkeeper, firm leader, or tax advisor, these newsletters are your shortcut to what's next in the profession. They're free, practical, and built for people like you. Visit insightfulaccountant.com and hit subscribe to start your smarter workflow today for free.